Why is it that you didn't tell me who you were? Her finger traced the lip of her glass, then dipped to the sides, catching condensation on her fingertips. The plates were cleared, except for lingering crumbs that gave clue to the pastries that had graced the table. Muffins, croissants, cookies. The sentence was spoken curiously. After a moment of shared laughter filled the air, it broke the impending silence before it had a chance to arrive, given to the reality that Soraia had been wondering this ever since her conversation with God. The way she was engaging with Pietra was so abnormal to him. He was having a bit of trouble adjusting to her softness, although he tried not to let on. He allowed her question to linger between them, until it sunk into the melting ice of their almost empty glasses. Everything has its time, he offered weakly, adding a half-hearted smile. The truth was, God instructed him not to. Soraia needed to make the discovery through Suma, and not a second before. Pietri didn't ask God why. They never asked why. To do so would be injecting themselves with a devious self-doubt that would eventually turn into an avalanche of self-destruction. Like all inhabitants of Triptia, they just knew it had to be done. The knowing wasn't due to being instructed, it was a knowing that was as clear as their existence. It was a feeling that they understood, it just made sense to follow, internally. It was right. Soraia was asking him to explain that, and that's not something Triptians did. She knew that. He lifted his eyebrows at her, in hopes his answer would be enough. Although his answer seemed to bother her, Soraia accepted it. I'd like to know something, he asked, leaning forward in his seat. She waited for his question. What is it you learned about me that has wiped every bit of annoyance from you? Soraia couldn't hold back the laugh that forced itself out of her, and turned some heads from the patrons around them. She started to answer, then smirked. Everything has its time. Pietra audibly sighed, and rolled his eyes in a dramatically silly manner before leaning back. We've had a long time together, she finally answered after a moment of heavy silence. I guess being on Tineia has affected my memory of that after all. She reached for the necklace hanging around her neck, rubbing her thumb on the moonstone. These stones really do work, I guess. And God, of course. God showed me some things I was slow in receiving. Pietra waited, hoping she'd add more to her explanation. When further explanation didn't arrive, he responded with what dawned on him. It came suddenly, like being shot with an arrow of clarity. Brogue. Soraia looked at him in surprise. Yes, Brogue, do you remember? Hopeful, she studied his expression closely. He was peering off in the distance, as if trying to receive more information on what just arrived to him. Sort of. I remember the feeling. I remember meeting you. A long time ago, Soraia added cheerfully. Yes. Pietra met her gaze. Eons. The memory was faded, with only some parts clear. Mostly evident were the feelings that were beginning to arise. Soraia was a close friend, someone he could trust, and someone he had trusted with his life. He reached for more remembrance. It remained foggy, but he was clear on Brogue, where they first met on Triptia. Their meeting was a gift from God, a blessing for reaching such a high rank in their development. Reaching their level of rank was rare, and it was witnessed in high appreciation. Life on Triptia was different. They didn't have vessels like the ones they lived in now to freely meet one another, seemingly by chance. Instead, they were forms of presence that built coherence and intelligence en masse, until the individuals reached a level of cultivation which allowed the freedoms to grow beyond. Their senses were not the same on Triptia. They had greater variety of experiences, and so they did not have vision to see one another as a physical body. They were more than a physical body. Much more. Sight was a lower, more simplified version of what they had. God created Tineia this way purposely. They had to evolve before they were trusted with such powerful experiencing. Pietra's eyes became slim as he squinted, searching inwardly for more information. Nothing else came. He settled on what he had, trust and closeness, and he thought back to what Suma said about the jewelry they wore and were to keep on, a growing bond. This realization resulted in an excited smile. It's good to be here with you, my friend. Soraia smiled warmly. It would have taken the senses of a Triptian in Triptia to catch the millisecond of the wounded micro-expression, which made itself felt before she smiled. Yes, it is. Pietra clapped his hands together and looked at the mess of plates and empty glasses on their table. All right, let's get this mess cleaned up. And on to Nicaea. Soraia's smile remained as she stacked the plates together, cradling her newly discovered secret close within. Hello. Enjoying the troubles of Tineia before the gods? Please consider subscribing and sharing my work. Every interaction inspires me to keep writing, and every like, comment, share, and subscription is heavenly